Yo, what's up, everybody? My name is Juwan Rohan with the Misguided Podcast, where we intend to guide you to a better future. I'm sitting here with Janet with the plan. How are you doing today?
Hello. I am good. How are you?
I'm living. I'm well and alive. I guess that's what we could ask for. My family's okay, so I'm doing
Uh,
well.
Good. I'm
so I,
actually
s-
in New York right now.
yeah, you're in the car in New York. How long are you out there for?
Actually, I'm gonna leave tonight.
Oh, how long
Um,
have you been there?
I got here Thursday. Just a
Oh,
short kind of trip. Visiting family for the long weekend. And my grandmother actually passed away 2 years ago, so it was really cool to be back because I we used to come all the time to see my grandparents, but now that they're gone, it's different.
yeah.
But it's so cool to connect with family members out here and stuff like that. So
Are you originally from New York?
so no, so my older sisters were born in New York. My parents, when they immigrated to America, lived here for I think probably the first like 8 years. Well, at least for 8 years of my dad being in the U.S. My mom had come prior with her family, and then they moved to Rhode Island. And I was born there. Yeah, so
Okay.
me and my younger siblings are born and raised in Rhode Island, but my mom's side is all in New York and New Jersey.
Rhode Island. I don't hear too much of an accent. Am I missing something?
Like a
Or
Rhode Island accent.
yeah, is there like do Rhode Island I don't know offsprings have like
So
strong accents?
So it's interesting because I feel like we have a mix of like a Boston and a New York accent. So when I'm in Boston, they'll say things like, "Oh, she said coffee" or something like that, and I still don't know why that sounds weird to them.
Yeah,
But then when I'm in New York, I remember my cousins would make fun of me sometimes if I, said the word like car and like sometimes we don't pronounce the R's. That's a
yeah.
very kind of
Car.
Boston thing, but we don't
Uh,
do that in Rhode Island. So sometimes I'll say car, like I'm getting the car, and they'll be like, "What's a car?" So every now and again it comes out, but I mean, I don't know.
yeah. Now I hear the Boston for sure. That I
Yeah.
hear like a little bit of Boston, which is it's kind of weird, but yeah. You wouldn't think like why those two would I don't know maybe why those two would go
well,
hand in hand.
well, we're 45. We're 40 minutes from Boston, and New York's 3 hours away.
Yeah,
So we're like in the middle, not middle, but So I
yeah,
think we
yeah.
got a little bit of either, a little bit of the vibe there.
Yeah, that's cool. I haven't been to New York in so long, but I love New York. I got a lot of family out that way, East Coast. But yeah, I love New York, but sometimes it just gets a little too fast for me. I don't know.
I feel
Have you? Yeah, do you like the West Coast as well, or what?
so. My sister just moved to California a year and a half ago now. Time is
Oh,
flying. So
yeah,
I spent like 3 months with her when she first moved, and then like sporadically 3 weeks here, the things like that. So she's in LA County, definitely your Bay Area. This is different, but I really love all the weather and the vibe is different because I'm from New England, so heavy on like school, heavy on that kind of stuff. Boston it has a lot of the best schools in the world, really.
yeah,
So we have I don't know, and when I would go there, people don't really ask me like, what did you study, what do you like, they're just more about like, I don't know, vibes. It just seems like a chill. I might be over generalizing, but I feel like it's a completely different vibe, like
yeah,
different values, and I really liked it. And
yeah.
it's always so sunny. It
Yeah,
was
it's
just
sunny. It's sunny right now, and it's October, and it's like, come on, I'm confused out here. It should be
yeah,
raining and stuff, but yeah, climate
yeah,
change over here. But
yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. All right. So I like to give the audience a little bit of information on kind of how I found you. So I'll
Hmm.
just get into that, and then we'll get into kind of exactly what you do. So how I found Jenny with the plan. I mean, it wasn't hard to find you, but you've been on EYL.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly your role, and I don't want to
Okay.
mess
I
it
can.
up. So if you
Yeah.
want to explain what your role was on EYL, that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah. So I was COO of EYL University, which is a small, well, not small, a
Mhm.
closed community of earners, which what we call people in the community. I'm still an earner, by the way, even though I moved on from that role. But it's basically people that like watching, listen to Earn Your Leisure podcast or watching Market Mondays, and they wanted to go a little deeper. So they joined this online community that was really focused on financial literacy, and I helped like the background, organizational, operational things like that for the last like 2 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, so how did that fall into your lap? Exactly.
Sure. Yeah, it's funny because my cousin was just asking me this yesterday. Like, how did you get started with that?
Yeah.
So it was the beginning of pandemic, and I think you might remember when the market had like crashed crazy and then went right back up. It
Yeah.
was so yeah. So I started watching Market Mondays, just like trying to learn more about what was going on and how I could get involved, how I could make some money, you know. And so I started watching Market Mondays, and they kept talking about EYL University and also Ian's program, Red Panda. So I'm like, you know what? I'm hearing it every week. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna join. Mind you, I don't have kids. I was literally in my apartment quarantined, and I had the time. All I have was my little plant babies. I don't even have pets. I'm like, you know what? I got all this extra time now. Like, so I joined EYL University. My job had us working from home, you know, so I still had my 9 to 5 going on, but I participated in the classes and I took it really serious. I loved it. Literally, it was like everything I ever wanted. Because I love to learn and I've always been a podcast head, but we were like learning about the '08 market crash, you know, with
Yeah.
the mortgage backed securities and all that, but more from a standpoint about how it affected our communities. And so I love that piece that was missing in other classrooms that I've been in, you know, like normally being the only Black girl in the class, you know,
Yeah.
and
No.
so never really having it like you learning these things like from how it really affected us. And that just honestly, it just touched my heart. I don't know. It sounds really corny, but I loved it. I took notes. I studied because I just really loved what we were learning, and then I would share my notes. And so my notes actually were like my claim to fame, if you will, because people really liked my notes. And the guys just, you know, that kind of like, that's how they started to get to know me. And then they're okay, can you help with this? Can you help with that? And then I had ideas too of things we can make better, or let's have like I started like structuring it more. Like we should have a schedule. Let's have an orientation for new members. And then they let me run with these ideas. Then eventually they hired me. So they started giving me a stipend, I want to say like end of May or June of 2020. And then by October they had tripled the stipend they were giving me every month. And then by December I was a full-time employee.
It's
So
like salary or what?
salary, yeah. Salary.
That's crazy. So like, all
Yeah,
right, I know you said you had a 9 to 5 before. I want to get into what that 9 to 5 was, and then I
sure.
want to get into kind of like, did you quit the 9 to 5 and just do EYL? What
Yeah.
was the
So
difference?
I was working at Fidelity Investments, and I was a systems analyst. And so what we did was we would help, we send market data to RIAs and broker dealers. So basically companies that would manage people's money, right? So end of day pricing, random things concerning like Apple stock and things like that, where we managed the systems that sent that data. So it was very detail oriented job, and yeah, that's what I did. My 9 to 5 was that, and so I had been at Fidelity for like 8 years, and
Oh
then I
damn.
joined this community, and I remember telling my boss because it was really funny when like they got this job offer. I told my boss, I was like, I wasn't even looking for a job, and we
Yeah.
both were laughing because I'm like, yes, I joined this online community, and I, you know, they want to hire me, and it was really really cool because the guys didn't know this, but I helped with an audit. I didn't tell them. I helped with the Fidelity audit once a week because it was really hard to like get somebody up to speed with that. But what we
Yeah.
did was so detail oriented and like a lot of different systems. And so I helped them once a week till they found someone else. So I did that till like March of 2020. Once a week, I helped them. Um, but yeah, and they wanted me to continue doing that. And I was like, no, I'm gonna really focus on this new job. But yeah, so I worked there and then I you know, transitioned full time into EYLU, which was so great because I remember thinking like, you know, God, how much more could we do if I could work on this full time? And then they offered me a job, which was just incredible. It was right after our first orientation, and I like helped the new members, and all the guys were on, and they're like, wow, like no, we gotta hire her. So
Yeah. If if you don't mind me asking, like, was it a big salary jump? Was it a cut? Was like, what are the numbers looking like?
it was actually relatively the same. Like they kind of matched me more. Like I mean, they gave me bonuses and things like that sporadically,
Yeah.
but it was not that much of a big difference in money, to be honest.
If
But
more of anything, opportunities. For
Yes,
sure.
that's what
Yeah.
I would say. It
Yeah.
was more opportunity. And also, I got paid to learn. So I got to host our Wednesday classes. When I first joined, that wasn't a part of my role, but then they originally, eventually asked me to help with that. And that was like such a great opportunity because not only was I already in these classes, now I got to host and then I could ask questions. You have to be, make sure you give earners a chance to ask their questions too. But it was
Yeah.
amazing. And then I got to build relationships with some of these professors. So it was just such a blessing.
No, yeah, I'm getting juice listening to the story. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm happy that you feel that way. It was definitely an amazing ride. I couldn't have dreamt it up. I feel like I'm a better leader now because of the experience. I'm more comfortable speaking up. People don't believe this, but I barely spoke up at work. I mean, it was hard for me to do it because I was just like, I don't even know if it was shy. I don't know what it was. I just felt very uncomfortable speaking up, and I was just concerned about, I don't know what people would think. I really don't know. I just
Yeah.
like when you're like intimidated or just shy sometimes,
Yeah.
there's no real reason around it. But EYLU, the first off, the passion for what we were talking about forced me to want to speak because I had done my homework, I had watched the videos, I did the notes, and I had opinions about it. So I remember writing down what I would say at first, and literally reading it word for word because my palms would get so sweaty. And I remember first time calling in for Market Mondays being so nervous that they called on me, and then eventually being on Market Mondays helping with Q&A.
Yeah,
And
that was crazy.
the evolution and how quickly things happen when I think about it is just like it's just so amazing. And I love to tell people, because of my experience the last 2 years, that you never know what is in you. You never know what you could do. Sometimes you think you can't do things, but with some practice and with people around you that believe in you, you could really do like amazing things. And that's really was my story.
Facts. Here's what I loved seeing with you on Market Mondays is every time you would come on and start the Q&A, you would kind of give an update on you
Yeah.
and what
Yeah.
you've been doing. And I was very like cool to see your growth from like, the just the form leader to
Yeah.
now you're oh, now I'm trying Airbnb. I just got
Yeah.
back from out of town traveling. I
Yeah.
was at a real estate conference or whatever. So
Yeah.
it was cool to see that growth, and that's what made me become interested. All right, like who is this girl? Like I gotta figure out. I gotta find her. I gotta DM her. Like so yeah, that was really cool to see that growth. So I want to talk about that and stuff. So as you're on EYL,
Hmm.
you're starting to do more things. How did you get introduced to Airbnb? Why did you start? Where
Sure.
did you start? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So, being an earner, you learn so much about, Toro, Airbnb, all these different ways you can make money.
Yep.
We've had classes on writing books and random things. So I was traveling a lot, and I had some earner friends that also had successful Airbnbs in different parts of the country. And they're like, you should do this while you're away. Like, why not just try it? And my apartment has all obviously my favorite things. Like I love my couch. I had like all these things I'm just like really love. I love my apartment. So I was like, I don't want to do it here. They're like, well, just test out Airbnb in your place when you're traveling because you're just, why not? It's a second like stream of income. And I was thinking too, like, I do like to travel. I like to explore other cities. So I'm like, if I could make money in my apartment and pay for Airbnb wherever I'm at, it doesn't affect my budget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one thing we talk a lot about is, your finances and your budget at EYLU. So I really tried to practice what we were preaching, which is the reason why I joined anyway. So it wasn't really that hard to do. But, I was really about the mission, in my personal life. So I think I had gone to California. The guys had an event, and then also I was visiting my sister. So every time I would go, I'd stay longer, stay with my sister, and I Airbnb my place, and I called a friend of mine that was she worked at hotels and things like that. So I had her look at my spot, and she agreed to clean for me while I was away. And we got the place together, decluttered it, because you don't want I'm all about black art and things like that. And so I did pare down on some of that stuff in my apartment so that anybody, no matter what their background was, felt like they were home in my space. So yeah, I just did all of that, got some bed skirts for some of the, the random little things that I didn't really have. And then you'd have to buy, I did all white sheets. I still do all white sheets and white towels and things like that. So I had to buy a bunch of like stuff like that. But for the most part, it wasn't that hard to set up. I put passcode like locks so that people could let themselves in and out because I was going to be out of town. Added like ring cameras to like the doors and things like that. So I did those things and went on my way, and had a really great cleaning lady, like I mentioned, and just started getting really great reviews. Um, and it started off there. And then I just kind of kept it going. Ended up moving out of my place and just making that just a full-time Airbnb. And then I did this in a property that I own. So I have a 3-family in Providence. And so as the other 2 units, I had like long-term tenants move out, turn those into rentals. So now the whole house right now is short and midterm rentals.
Wait,
Airbnb
so
also.
it's a triplex?
Yeah, it's a triplex in Providence.
Damn, when the hell did you get the triplex?
So I got that before I joined EYL. That was 4.5 years ago. Well, yeah, over 4.5 years ago.
What a great buy, and what a great time. Like, good
Oh,
job on that. Like,
thank you.
who taught you to get into real estate like that? Like, no one
So
just buys
actually,
triplexes.
shout out to my dad and my Uncle Manny. They had me read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was like 20, and after that, I wanted to buy a property, but I was like nervous to do it alone. So that, like, I just took a bunch of classes. I went to Rhode Island Housing, has a class like first time home buyers, another one about like becoming a landlord. So I did all those classes, and then eventually started looking for properties, and it was not easy. That was a very difficult process because, you fall in love with places. You look at a place, and even though if they tell you not to do that, like, you're like, this is it, and then they accept your offer, and then you go to get the inspection done, but you never know what you're gonna find in an inspection. But it was
Yeah.
my first time going through that process, so it was hard. I remember getting it was what do you call it, foreclosure, that first one I looked at, and I was
Mm,
super excited because I was watching Bigger Pockets and listening to all these
yeah.
podcasts. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this foreclosure, fix it up a little bit, refinance. Like, I had a whole thing going on I was gonna do. And then we got the inspection done, and the pipes had burst in the house, and that was going to add way more money to, the estimates I had. I had a contractor look at the place and give me estimates, and now we had to think about repiping the whole house and all these things. So I went back and I was like, okay, is there any way we can lower the price of the house? And foreclosures are very difficult. There's a huge process to like lowering there's like a whole thing. So it just wasn't working out. And I remember I had broke my lease. I had a loft, this beautiful loft apartment, and I just, because they accepted my offer, I just started moving on with like, oh, I'm gonna, and that was really not smart to do. So then I moved in with an aunt, and I remember going upstairs to my room, and I was like bawling. I remember talking to God. I was like, God, do you want me to get a house? Yes or no? Like, I've been looking at houses, I've been going to all these companies. What am I gonna do? Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But I was just like, you know what? I don't want to, like, I know this is not going to be an easy process. So I remember putting on a sermon to try to like encourage myself. This is like, I don't always tell these
Oh,
stories.
motivation. Well,
Yeah.
that's good.
So
I'm
I
glad you're
went on,
sharing.
yeah. So I went on YouTube and I found there's a preacher that my friend was telling me to listen to. So I looked him up on YouTube, and I clicked some random sermon that said anything is possible or something like that.
I'm surprised it wasn't Eric Thomas. I would have put on Eric Thomas.
Yeah. Well, no, at the time I didn't really know who he was at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah. So then I put up some random sermon, and the whole sermon is about this guy buying a house in California and how God wanted to give him a house, but he didn't have faith for it because it's so expensive there. So he felt like, yeah, I'm gonna get a house eventually, but he had to really keep his faith up. And it was like, I knew God was telling me, like, no, you're gonna get a house, like, you got this. And then my cousin hit me up, the contractor. He's also a contractor, and he had someone working for him that was flipping a house, a 3-family, the one that I ended up getting. She's like, why don't you come look at this? I know the process you've been through has been so difficult. Come see this place. So we go, me and my sister and my brother-in-law went with me, and we went look at this house, and it was amazing. We ended up getting it under contract before it was even done. We got to pick, like, we found the countertops, and
Yeah,
it
you
was like,
can pick the stuff now because
yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool.
picked everything. And each floor is a little bit different. One floor is like all white. The second floor has these really dark stains on the floor. Like, I really wish I'd done that in every floor.
What'd you get it at, if you don't mind me asking?
I got it for $265,
What's
and right now it's worth like double.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, I just got a HELOC on the house so that I could pull some of that money out, and you know, who knows what I'm gonna do with it, but I just did it. Why not?
YOLO.
And then I refinanced with MG, the mortgage guy, in 2020 when the like rates were like crazy low. So
Yeah.
I mean, I barely pay anything a month for the house.
That's amazing. Good job. That's a hell of a story. I mean, a lot of people, don't think about that, like especially a multi-family for their first home. Like they either have to read a book like Rich Dad Poor Dad, or they have to learn from someone to actually go out there and make that
Crazy
investment.
thing I'll say too is I actually paid off my student loans the same year I bought my house, because that was another thing, is my biggest expense was housing. So once I bought this house and I lived in one of the units, I rented out the second bedroom to a friend of mine, and I actually had more money to pay off my student loans, which was another goal of mine. I have a like I don't want to talk too much. I mean, I'm telling you my story, but my original idea was to pay off everything, maybe live off of some of my rental income, and move to Cape Verde or Africa, because that's where my family's from. I
Yeah.
really just wanted to do that, have that experience. And I was big on the fire movement, which is like retire early, no, what's it called, financial independence, retire early, fire.
Mhm.
And that was my goal, is just have like residual income and make enough to like pay off like, my like expenses. But really I kept them so low, I didn't have anything to pay for until to this day. Thank God I have no debt
Mhm.
besides the house that is really to me an asset. So um not even a
Yeah.
car payment.
Are you living in any of the units right now, or did you
No,
move?
I
You
moved
moved.
out. So because
They're
I can
all
live,
Airbnb.
yeah, all Airbnb or travel nurses. And my goal right now is to just get the whole house to have travel nurses in every unit, because they stay longer and they're working. It's just way less, I think, liability. Although, thank God, I haven't had any crazy situations with Airbnb. And part of that, I think, too, is I don't accept everybody. I'm okay with having a night that's free, empty, as long as I take safe bets. So if you don't have good reviews, if you're not someone that stayed in the other Airbnb where I can see reviews, you're just not going to stay with me. I don't take first time people. I also don't take people that are from Rhode Island trying to stay at my Airbnb, because normally there's sketchy stuff going on. And normally I learned this through Airbnb, through EYL as well, hearing other
Nice.
people's stories. And so I implemented some of that into how I do things. So I'm not like, it doesn't take much to cover the mortgage. So I'm not going crazy. I'm not going to take a risk, I just
Yeah.
don't do that. So even Airbnb hasn't been so bad, but travel nurses are just great. I have them send me the contract. So I know that they're definitely working somewhere in town. And then I look up the RN numbers. There's websites where you can do that. Like each state has a website to look up registered nurses within their community. So yeah, it seems like super legit for me, and they pay for everything ahead of time. So if they're saying 3 months, you get that check before they even move in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really great. That's my goal right now, is just
I
getting.
love traveling nurses because they're never home. They're always at
Yeah.
the hospital,
Yep.
and they don't cook because they come home and order takeout. And
Hmm.
so your place stays extremely clean. And also, they got money, so they don't care
Yeah.
about the price.
Yep.
I've never had a traveling nurse be like, can you lower the price or something? But so I love that. And the fact that you talk about being picky about letting people in. I stress this to people wanting to learn Airbnb from me like all the time. Like I'm pretty strict. I don't let people. I don't like when people start their profile the month of when they're trying to book. I don't. I make sure I verify like all their identities.
Yep.
Like it's I make it a process that if they don't want to go through the process, I'm okay with letting a few
Yeah.
fall. You know what
Yep.
I
I do
mean?
that too.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
every
So
now and again, I'll have somebody that's a new person, and they'll be like, "No, but like, here's my ID," or they'll like show that there's a reason why they're in town. Or and then sometimes I'll like let them stay, but they'll
yeah,
have to jump through some hoops. And
yeah.
honestly, if I sit at Airbnb and someone asked me to do all those things, I'd be like, "Wow, they really care about their property and who they have in there." That would make me feel good.
Oh,
So people
facts.
that don't want to stay for those reasons, I'm like, "Oh
Plus,
well."
you gotta look out for the neighborhood, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't just be letting random strangers in your place. And the crazy part, like, this is crazy right now. At one of my places where my Airbnbs are, there's a serial killer in the town right now. They killed like 7 people. Yeah, crazy,
Wow.
crazy. And so Yeah, that's going on right now in Stockton, California, if you don't know where that's at. But yeah, 7 people, and so they're trying to. He's on the run right now.
Wow.
It's crazy. So, but like stuff like that, you know what I mean? You gotta be like, you gotta be aware. You gotta, and so, yeah, I try and be like a really good, like I always believe, customer service should be first. Like in all my businesses, I take care of the customers no matter the cost. You know what I mean? Like, because word of mouth is very important, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for word of mouth. And reviews. A lot of people, like, I don't know why, but I meet a lot of people who come to me and like, how do you scale? And I'm like, yo, like you have 2 reviews and you've been in business for like 4 years. Like, what do you like? That's first. Like, that's got to be a
I actually
priority.
had somebody try to wanted to teach an Airbnb class at EYL University, and I was like, "Well, send me the links to your,
Yeah.
listings." And he didn't have any reviews in 2 years, and the last one was horrible. And I'm like,
Ah.
but yeah, you have
Yeah.
people out here that want to teach courses and do all these things, and it's like it's nothing wrong if you're just started. And I remember I helped my friend, and I was his Airbnb in Providence is doing so well, like he's doing so great, and he started October of last year. But I had only been doing Airbnb for like 3 months, but I helped him get set up, and he's doing really well. So I'm not saying just because you're new you can't teach or help someone, but there needs
Yeah.
to be some integrity. And if you've only been doing it for a little while and you're already trying to scale, why don't you see if you can manage one for a little bit of time, before you.
Before you become the Airbnb king that everybody wants to
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. And,
Yeah.
and not everything is for everyone. Maybe
Yeah.
you don't want to manage Airbnb. You want to do something else. Like
Yeah. Nah,
you want
managing
to crypto
Airbnb
pay.
is like not, it's not passive. I hate when people come to me and like, yeah, so like Turo and Airbnb, like how can I it's not passive. Like I feel like I'm working all the time and I'm not making enough money. I'm like, yeah, I told you that from the jump. Like you
Well,
gotta
it could be
actually work.
passive if you hire someone to manage
Yeah.
it, but then you're gonna have to give some of that
Yeah.
money up.
Exactly.
And are
Exactly.
they going to manage it the way you would? I actually been thinking about going into property management because I'm super detail oriented and I feel like I'm good at it. And people have a hard time finding people that can help them. So I'm like, maybe in Rhode Island, that'll be my next step. But you have to be a broker, a real estate broker. So that's a caveat there. But you finding good help is very difficult.
Yeah, yeah, it is
Yeah.
in any industry. Where do you think? What do you see happening with Airbnb next? Because I sat down with an investor like a couple days ago, trying to get them to pitch in on some more Airbnbs, and they were like, "I see Airbnb kind of crashing in the next 12 to 18 months. I don't think it's going to be profitable." Where do you see?
Well, to be honest, I mean, times are tough. I really don't know what's gonna happen. I always plan like if anything, I could rent my units out on Section 8 probably. So I get that, quick, not quick, but like more secure money. And I still would make a profit on my property. So I always think like I'm gonna ride this till they don't work anymore, and travel nurses are great. So I'm trying to hopefully move into that, but it's definitely being cracked down on in certain cities. So I mean, I don't really know what's going to happen, but I like that you said too, like thinking about the neighborhood and thinking about who I have in my Airbnb, because if I have like a crazy situation happen in my place and my town and people find out, then they might want to crack down on Airbnbs as well. So I think even hosts have to be a lot more careful about what they're allowing in their space so that it works out for all of us. But I really don't know. Every market's different. I have a friend that just started her Airbnb in Houston, and she's kind of having a hard time because it's oversaturated, I guess, with Airbnbs. So I was
Yep.
talking to her about maybe making a theme, so that it's, stands out more because, there's so much competition. But I think people don't underestimate small cities like Providence. People will be like, who, like, I remember people telling me, like, why are you going to do an Airbnb in Providence? Who goes to Providence? But
Yeah.
hey, I'm making money. So who
Yeah.
goes Providence?
Yeah, yeah, not, and the rent is super low, so it's like your risk is, like Houston, people were way overpaying for properties, and rent
Yeah.
is crazy now. In Austin, like I got an Airbnb in Austin, but I love it. It's like my favorite Airbnb. But because you got the kids, I just say you got the white kids who go there and they want to spend daddy's money, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the profit out that way is pretty good, but I am starting to look into markets that are a little bit uh, better as far as affordability, right? Less risk, but still heavily populated as far as people traveling, looking around. Hospitals is key, and anything new construction is really key, because that tells you, who's doing the research. So like you can do your research, but if you're looking into a city and you see these high rises going up, they've paid thousands of dollars to research what's going to happen the next few
Right.
years in that city. So there's a reason they're building the high rises, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of use that as a guess. And
I
yeah,
mean,
I
go
love
look
it.
up to and whatever like where the new development's going to be, like your city plans. Like look online and see what your city got going on, and you can kind of gauge that way too, where areas they're putting more money into, and
Yeah.
figure it out. But what do you think about Airbnb? Because I know you seem like you got a lot going on, so I'm curious, like, what's your point, your opinion on the future?
Yeah, I definitely see it tapering off. I don't see like a crash coming. I see it being stable again, and kind of. I mean, it is getting oversaturated, but there's still a demand of people traveling. Like we were locked up for 2 years,
Yeah.
so like everyone wants to get out now. Now
Mhm.
we're in a recession. I see it. When you think of recession, you think of, all right, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to escape and go
Yeah.
party and do crazy stuff to get rid of that, like what they're going through in the recession. So I see a lot of people in Vegas every weekend. I see a lot of people in Texas every weekend. Miami, my friends in Miami right now, like people want to escape, and so I
Yeah.
think that is going to help stabilize the Airbnb, even with everyone coming in. I do see it being harder for new people to start Airbnb. Like someone says, tomorrow I want to start Airbnb, I'm gonna go buy that place in Houston and throw
Mhm.
it up. Oh, now I'm not making anything. That's gonna be a thing for a while. I think for the people who have already been in it, like myself, yourself, we have that edge, right? Because we have those reviews.
Yeah.
We know how to manipulate the system in order to get more stuff, and so yeah, I see it tapering off, but I don't see it affecting too much. I think you just got to be smart about it. Just like any business, you have to adapt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
if I ever stop making less money on Airbnb than I would renting it, then obviously I'd have to pivot. But
Yeah, and
but
that's
I,
the
yeah,
thing I tell everyone is like, I'd rather start short term and take the risk, right? And then if it doesn't work out, then I could go long term. But if you go long term first and play it safe, okay, cool, you can make a little $200 a month. But then now you gotta evict the person to try Airbnb, or you gotta wait till the lease is up. Like you miss so many opportunities by taking the safe bet first. I'd rather take the harder bet and then go into the safe alternative.
true. I mean, I think too. Like all my units are furnished. So I'm like, well, worst case scenario, maybe I'll get some students in here because there's a lot of schools in Providence, and maybe I'll
Yeah.
rent that way or whatever. But
Yeah, I've always been interested in that, in the student housing for sure. I've
mm,
seen some pretty cool stuff where like someone will buy like a single family home and put like four washer and dryers in there, four refrigerators, four, like
mm,
four, and I'm like, yo, that's so smart. Like back looking back in college, that we had five dudes in one place, like, and we all were fighting over refrigerator space.
yeah,
Like, so that's amazing. Like, yeah, you got one all beer, one. So yeah,
love it.
so there's smart things out there to do. That's
Hmm.
cool. That's cool. I want to jump to the Hella Misguided segment where I ask the same question to each entrepreneur that comes up on here. That question is simple. It is, if you were to write a letter to your 18-year-old self, what would a summary of that letter be?
Oh, that's such a great question. You're so good at this, by the way.
Thank you. Thank
During
you.
like conversation, I feel comfortable and like flow. Yeah, I just want to give you your flowers there. But
Appreciate it.
18-year-old Janet, I think I would tell her to believe in herself because I think I always felt like I was a leader. I had all these ideas, but I was always felt like I don't know, like I was scared of what people would think, I guess, or scared of failing, and I should have just went for it and
And
allowed it
where do you
way.
think that comes from?
Um, that's a good question. I don't really know. I think, I guess childhood traumas, things like that. Like one of the things that was really difficult for me growing up is that like in the Cape Verdean community, it's different now. A lot of things are different, but like just the colorism. And I grew up in a lot of like around a lot of lighter skinned Cape Verdeans. So I think like I just never felt like the pretty girl. There was a lot of like different things I felt about myself. And I also didn't like a lot of attention for that reason.
Mm.
I don't know. It was like a lot of like random things. Also I was really different. I grew up like super religious. To a certain extent. So there was a lot of times I felt like I couldn't relate to people sometimes. So there was a lot of like little like internal things that I just felt like, and to be a leader, you're in front of people. People
Mm-hmm.
are gonna, and they judge you harsher, things like that, you know, whatever. So I think I had all these ideas, but I'd rather be behind someone else for some reason.
Yeah.
And even me leaving EYL right now, it was me to saying like, I can do this on my own. I don't have to like be the background girl all the time, although I love doing that. I love structure, I love like organization. Inside of me, I knew that it was time for me to like do my own thing.
All right, hold on. Now that you brought that up, now we gotta kind of dive into that because I
Yeah,
feel like I didn't see. That's interesting about that. I didn't see you as the background girl. I felt like you, or maybe I don't, I don't want to overstep anything, but
yeah,
from this point of view, I didn't see you as the background girl, and I felt like you weren't there for. I mean, you were there for 2 years, right? And that is a long time, but I feel like you had so much more to
yeah.
offer at EYL.
Well,
So
I don't background is probably not the best way to put it, but it was more like build, I don't know how to explain it. I just know that I can do I'm ready to do my own thing.
all
I
right,
just
and what is that own
I
thing?
So I'm working on it now. I don't have it all figured out, but I have like people that reach out to me for consulting services. So I have that going on. I have a couple of clients that I'm helping with certain things. But I'm gonna wait till like January probably to really like be out there talking about some of it. But I'm still building these ideas that I've been working on. Um, I'm finishing my real estate license. I have 2 more classes left, and I'm hoping to just do my own deals, you know, because I had a situation with a
Uh oh, I think we lost her. Hold on. Oh wait,
Uh-oh. We good?
that sounds like a yeah. We good. I don't know what happened. You went ghost for a moment.
Sorry, no, someone called me. Someone called me and
Oh,
it messed everything up. So yeah, so I'm gonna be doing my own deals. I had a situation with a realtor recently where it was just like weird things happening. I don't know, it's another story, but I'm just like, you know what? Let me do my own thing. I know enough at this point, and I'm willing to learn, so I can do it. So I'm gonna do my own deals and maybe help maybe a friend or two here and there. I don't know,
nice.
family, stuff like that. So I'm excited for that,
How's
and
the studying?
it's going. I mean, the thing is, I've been taking the classes, and I do know a lot, so that's been good. And then once I get back from New York, it's like study mode. Just to get it done. That's like my thing. I want to get that done and out of the way, and then maybe I'll go on vacation before the year's up. And
Nice.
then I want to just
Use
like,
use Prep Agent on YouTube. Prep
oh,
Agent. It,
thank
it
you.
it helped me a lot, like tremendously, and yeah, it's really good.
Okay, prep agent.
Yeah, I hate reading. So I don't know about you, but I hate reading. So like when I see it visually and I see it like cartoonies and stuff, it helps me understand it. And I'm a visual learner, so like I'll remember that when I go sit down the test. I'll remember like, oh, that little stick figure was moving this way. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Okay. Thank
yeah,
you.
of
I'm
course.
happy we met because I feel like you're an amazing resource as well and like super helpful. I'm like, this is good. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
doing that. And then I had started the process of becoming or studying to be a certified financial planner. I actually signed up for that before they even offered me a job with EYLU. But that's been constantly put on the back burner because of the work and all these other things going on. Granted, I know I could probably be a lot more organized and maybe I could have done everything, but it was just a lot. So this is just Janet finishing some of her personal goals and getting it done. And I'm so grateful for the guys. Like I've learned so much from them. Um, EYL till I die. Like I love
Yeah.
them so much. It's been amazing. And even me telling them that I wanted to leave, they were so it was just so beautiful. Like they were like, "Oh my God, our Jan is leaving," and
Yeah.
really believe in me and know I can do it. So I'm just betting on myself right now, and I'm a lot more comfortable doing that now. So
Yeah.
that's the plan.
Where are they like brothers? Like you can call them up anytime and just
Definitely, MG. Oh my god, I hit him up all the time with like all these really
questions.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's always that's great. Mike's amazing. He was super busy, but always picked up for me. I'm hoping that doesn't change. But he
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my god, anything you need." Rashad also told me the same thing. He said, "Anything you need, reach out." So
That's cool.
I'm
I didn't get a chance to meet Rashad. When they came to Oakland, they sold that shit out. That shit
oh
was
yeah,
like wrapped around the block. And so thankfully I got there early. I had invited a couple of business partners and they didn't get in. They were waiting outside at like 11. But I didn't have the chance to meet Rashad, but I had the chance to meet Troy.
mm-hmm.
And we got a chance to talk, and I told him about my I had wrote a book back in 2020 of a financial literacy book for kids, and I've been trying to donate it to schools. And if when I tell you that it has been extremely hard to donate books, financial literacy books to schools, like I'm not joking.
Wow,
Um, yeah, I had released the book though back in April of 2021, and it debuted number one on Amazon. It was crazy. And so I had told Troy about it. I was like, dude, I want to give you like a free copy
yeah,
and get your opinion on it. And he had such a cool guy.
yeah,
And
Troy's amazing.
because it was so packed,
Yeah,
like he was like, here goes my email. But I was like, dang, I want to go talk to Rashad because I know Rashad has a family and everything. But you can't even move in that thing. Like you like this trying to scoot by people. Like
yeah, yeah,
but yeah, they seem like really cool brothers, and
they
that's
are.
good. I'm glad you got to meet that and experience that, because I feel like networking and finding people who relate and push you at the same time, right, and ground you at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
That really helps you succeed and find your place, and now you're able to take that next step and journey by yourself,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So that's really
It's
cool.
amazing, and being around people that are just like executing at the level that they are, it only makes you want to do the same. Like it's just so inspiring, and
Yeah.
that was the cool thing about joining EYL University for me is that everyone around me was about making moves. So
Mhm.
it's just like you can't help but make a move. Like you just couldn't help it, and that's so important. I think sometimes a lot of us we have these ideas and we're around people that just aren't and no shade to anybody. I think everybody's like, we all have our journey. So like, I actually can't stand people that are like, I did this, I did that. I can't believe this person doesn't want to learn or read these books, and it's like they're on their own journey.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's so important to be around people that are, trying to do what you want to do because it's that extra push.
Yeah, I also learned that that was good what you just said. I had learned kind of that people aren't gonna support you in everything you do. Like that's hard. That's a hard bullet to chew, right? But like because I have so many things that I do, I get down when the person who supported me on this doesn't support me on that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you got to realize that people have their own journey, right?
Yeah.
And what they like and what they're going to do. And so that's perfect what you just said, because it made me realize that, like, um, just a little bit of self reflection. Like, not everyone is going to support everything you do, and that is okay. That's
Yeah.
okay, right?
Does it make them, I mean, maybe to you or depending on the circumstances, that makes them a bad friend, but not always.
Nah, yeah, yeah.
Sometimes, I do believe that, at least for me, that God is ordering my steps and that everything was going to work out as it needs to. So
Mhm.
sometimes he's aligning you with different people for a reason, and we just have to like allow it to happen. Like that's okay.
Facts, facts, facts. Well
Why
said.
why is somebody got to be wrong for having different goals right now? And you never know what people are going through either. You never really know. So it's
Mhm.
like maybe they don't have the time for this or the mental capacity for it right now, or maybe their finances are low and they don't feel like telling you that. You just don't know.
Oh
Maybe
my
they didn't
God.
want to buy a new shirt because they can't. That's okay. That's okay.
Mental capacity is a real thing. Like I'm starting to learn
Yeah.
that day more and more, day and day. And I wish that some people had taught me early on. But like, man, I just mental capacity overload for real. Like our brains are literally like computers. It's crazy. But anyways, I want to move on because I know you want to get to some wine tasting soon. So just a couple more
Yeah.
questions. Dude. Do where do you see yourself kind of growing as far as Airbnb? I know you have the 3 units. Do you have any more, and do you plan to get any more? Do you do partnerships? What's kind of your deal with that situation?
I've been thinking about just trying rental arbitrage just because I think I would be able to help people a lot more because not everyone can just buy a house or is ready to like start Airbnb. And I do get people that reach out to me for help. And I feel like I could help people better if I actually knew that experience. So I've been thinking about doing rental arbitrage just for that reason. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I help you if you ever want to call me up and chat about it. I got some game to spit for it.
Oh,
Um yeah, I learned a lot. I've been doing Airbnb since like 2019. I learned a lot. I made a lot of bad mistakes in it,
okay.
and then a lot of good lessons.
Well, the
Right?
good thing is I do have a lot of amazing reviews. So I feel like I could go to a landlord and be like, look, I listen, you're be good. Just give, I
Yeah.
feel like I had that conversation, but I'm trying to figure out maybe if I were to do it, where would I want to do it? I just don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that out. But what was the question? Do I want to? What
Oh
else?
no,
What was?
I was just asking, where do you like? Do you plan to expand besides the 3 units? I'm sure a lot of people have came to you asking about partnerships. What are your stances on that? Because a lot of real estate investors say, in order to scale fast, partnerships are really key. So I just want to know where you stand
I
on that.
have had people present real estate deals to me and things like that. I'm probably going to do something like that in the future because it does make sense. But for me, Providence is what I know. So I always feel more comfortable with a city that I know and understand.
Yeah.
And so I would just really have to make sure I do my research. And I just always have hadn't had so much going on. I'm like, oh, do I really want to do this right now and figure that out and trust? But I do have some really cool people around me that I do know are really knowledgeable. So I might do a deal. I'm not sure. I'm always about like being ready for an opportunity when it comes. Right now I
Yeah.
really want to finish my real estate license, get my CFP certification stuff, and build my consulting services. I've thought about having my own podcast. Um, we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I'm really
Mental
genuinely.
capacity. You gotta focus on
Yes,
certain
I gotta
like.
focus and get some of these things off my plate first and then move from there. And actually, I've been really enjoying that. Jan doesn't really have a fully thought out plan right now, which is unbelievable. They call me Jan with a plan for a reason. Yeah, and Jan has a plan, but not really right now.
I got to
And
go back to the beginning and edit that. I'm gonna edit that out. Just Janet with the question mark.
yeah, yeah. Well, no. I'm still Jan with a plan. I don't want to leave that, but right now, I think it's nice to have some space to breathe.
Yeah,
To like, I did definitely. It was the end of a chapter for me right now with EYL, and not. I don't want to say end of it. See, that's even that is like interesting because I put in my 2 weeks notice and I didn't even know I was gonna do that. I just was like thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this tomorrow. I mean, I've been thinking about it for a little bit, but I didn't know I was gonna do it right then and there. But I definitely shocked myself a little bit. But I just really believe in like trusting your gut and going with what feels right. And I knew that if I take this step back, that I can take like 5 steps forward. If I actually work on my certifications, finishes those licensing, work on these businesses, and I just didn't really have the time or space to do it in my last role. And we'll see what the future holds. But I mean, I'm proud of myself. It sounds, I hope I'm not conceited, but I really am proud of myself because it was a really, really hard decision. And it was a really cool job. It was a
yeah,
really cool place to be, but I had to like follow my gut.
yeah,
And that's what
yeah,
I'm doing. And yeah, so I'm excited to get some of this studying and the tests done and then take a break and then figure out my life from there. The girl that wanted to run away to Africa and live on a farm still like lives inside of me. I'm not gonna lie to you. So
yeah,
I'm like, I was thinking about like going to Cape Verde and doing some volunteer work and just seeing what happens because honestly, when I first started helping with EYLU doing like volunteering and stuff, I had some people tell me, why are you doing all this stuff for free? This is crazy. Like they got money, you should make them pay you, whatever. But inside of me, I was following my heart. I followed my gut. It just felt like the right thing to do. I didn't know a job would come from it, honestly, and one did. So I feel like my gut never fails me, and it has God has plans for me that I can't even imagine. I really do believe that for myself. So I'm gonna follow my gut, and it
Yeah.
never has steered me wrong. So I'm excited to dream, and you might see me on a farm somewhere. I don't know.
All right, I'll look for the farm pictures. I'll look
Yeah.
out for. That's a great way to kind of wrap up the episode. So I'm gonna just leave it there. That was amazing. Well put. Well structured. The way I do like to end the episode is with a random question that we haven't talked about before. This segment is called guided conclusions. And so this question could be serious. It could be funny. It could be a would you rather. It could make you cry. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's just go for it.
Let's go. All right. What's wealth in one word? And you cannot use wealth, obviously.
Freedom.
Mm, okay, okay. I like that. I like that. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Financial freedom. But I also think when we talk freedom, we talk time because you know time is where we really get our mental capacity back, right?
Yes.
We really get our emotional support and so time I'm learning, as I progress through my life and new chapters, I'm learning that I value time more than I do value money, but I value both, right? And so
Like,
that
okay, let's
yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. I did a video on like the phrase "money can't buy you happiness." Like, I
Mhm.
honestly think it's bullshit, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I appreciate your time coming up here. I know we had to reschedule, right? Because I think you were
Yeah,
traveling like last month. So
yeah.
um, I,
I really enjoyed meeting you too. I'm definitely gonna set up some time to pick your brain too. I think this is really cool, and I'm excited. And
nice.
you got like this information is like hot off the press. Like I literally, and when we first scheduled this, I was still CO. I had no intentions of like just leaving, and it's just funny how things
That's
happen.
yeah.
It's
That's
just
crazy. We scheduled it like 2 months ago, and then we were supposed
yeah,
to do it like last month, and then
yeah.
yeah. So this is hot off the press, man. It should have been breaking news. You should have waited. No, I'm saying. Nah,
I
but
didn't even know. It's so funny. I really didn't know I was gonna do that, but I'm really proud of myself. It was a leap of faith, literally. I don't really have it all figured out, but
and that's okay though. That's okay.
yeah, and
Let,
it's gonna work out. I know it will.
yeah, I believe in you. You got this. You got this.
Yeah.
Go ahead and drop all your socials, your websites, whatever you want to drop.
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram at I am Janet De Silva. And my website, I'm working on it now. So just go to my Instagram for now.
Nice, nice.
See, this is why I need to work on my stuff. I'm telling you. But
Go
yeah,
go to
that
the
was
Instagram. Look for the farm picture next weekend, guys. It's coming.
yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys heard it here. This is the Misguided Podcast. We intend to guide you to a better future. Again, my name is Juwan. I'm sitting here with Janet with the plan. And so make sure you guys tune in, tap in, like, and subscribe. And I appreciate your guys' support. I'll see you on the other side.
Peace.